Hey boys and girls, Mr. Keith back again today for another science experiment. Now today's science experiment is a little more fun than the one we did the other day, in my opinion. Two reasons why. Number one, we use math because we've got measuring cups here, fractions. And we use chemistry, that is we're mixing a bunch of chemicals together to form something new. And number two, it's biscuits. So two reasons. Alright, so I've got everything out that I need here. I've got some flour, I've got some sugar, I have milk, I have baking powder, I have salt, I have butter. Now I already cut up a stick of butter. This is just to show you that it uses a whole stick of butter. I've got my measuring equipment, and then I have this wonderful tool right here. This is called a food processor. Now, if you don't have one of these, you can still make biscuits. All you do is you'll take a fork, and you'll take your butter when you mix it with your flour, and you're going to smash the butter in the flour. Now, the food processor does that for us. It does it way better than we can do it, or than I can do it, and it's much quicker, so I'm going to use that today. But you can still make these biscuits even without that. Now, once we roll out our biscuits, and we cut them and everything like that, this recipe calls for us to cook them in an iron skillet. So I'll probably use that today. But if you don't have an iron skillet or you don't want to use an iron skillet, you can still use a cookie sheet. I've already started my oven. I preheat it to 425, and all that means is you turn on your oven, you pick the temperature you want it to go to, and you go ahead and let it warm up while you're putting all your ingredients together. That's what preheat means. So that way when you put your biscuits in there when it's ready, the oven's ready, you slide them right in, and all the sooner you get to eat them. Now, Ellie's been working on fractions in school, so I'm going to let her use our measuring cups here and measure it out. She's going to add, for instance, 2 1-holes to get 2 cups of flour. And then later on, she's going to use half a cup of milk and a 1/4 cup of milk to do the 3/4 cup of milk that the recipe calls for. So I'm going to take the camera from her. She's going to come over here and she's going to measure out our dry ingredients and put our butter in there and get everything ready for the food processor. So I'm going to take over the camera while she takes over the cooking.
So what you're going to do is put a half a cup in here and then pour it into the 1 whole cup. It's easier because the 1 whole cup might not fit into the flour bag.
You need more.
There you go.
Now you'll notice Ellie's dumping a lot of flour on the counter right now. But that's okay, because we're going to need flour on the countertop later whenever we roll out our biscuit dough. So, alright. She's got her 2 cups of flour in there. The recipe now calls for 1
teaspoon of sugar.
1 teaspoon. Alright, so she's going to take the little bitty measuring spoon there. And she's going to put 1 teaspoon
That looks about good.
right into the flour mix.
Next is 1 tablespoon of baking powder.
Alright, 1 tablespoon of baking powder. So she's got luckily a 1 tablespoon. If you didn't have 1 tablespoon, let's say you only had a half a tablespoon, how many would that take?
2 of them.
2 half tablespoons equal 1 tablespoon. Very good. All of you middle school and high schoolers probably already know that. She's going to put 1. That's not quite 1. It's going to be easier if you turn that around the other way so you can...
Like it?
Yeah, that'll be alright. She's got her 1 tablespoon of baking powder in there.
Then 1 teaspoon of salt.
Okay.
I think that's what it says.
Alright, she's going back to her... She's going to get her salt now. She's going to pour out about 1 teaspoon of salt. That's good. Wait a minute. Actually, I just thought of something. If you're using unsalted butter, and some butter's salted, some butter's not, then you want you'll want to skip the salt. It looks like this may have some salt in it, so we're just going to put a little bit of that salt in there. You don't want it to be over salty. A little more. There you go. That's good. Alright, so we're not going to add it all. That's right. You can just set it down there. Alright, now we're ready to add the butter into it.
So you're just going to add it all.
So she's going to use her knife there to scrape the butter around in the bowl a little bit. A little here, a little there. Good.
Next, it's 3/4 cup of milk.
Well, we're not ready for the milk yet. Alright, so at this point what we do is we're going to put our processor bottom on here, lock it into place. Then we're going to take our lid, we're going to put it on there and lock it into place. And now, you can see that Ellie's got her hand up there at the top of that. The reason is because that can shake off there and your flour will go everywhere. You want to make sure your lid's on tight whenever you start pushing the button. Now, it's going to get really loud here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the camera. We're going to mix this up, and then we'll come back whenever it's mixed up.